Happy New Year, everybody. Chuck here. January. Thought I'd give you another update on the track vehicle situation. And I want you to know right off the bat here, I'm starting a new series. And it's going to be called the PTV Build 1, and then 2, 3, 4, etc. I will continue with my other series too, riding, pulling, hill climbing, and so forth. And those things are entitled Personal Track Vehicle Part 14, 15, 16, so forth. Because I realize some people are interested in building them. Some people just want to see us do crazy things like climb hills and so forth, speed around the trail. So this one I'm going to call, actually today, PTV Build 1, because if you step back here, you can see I have a lot of materials here I've already collected for this new build, and I thought I would start here and show you where I'm going. Number one, I've got here some 20 feet of 14 gauge, 1 1/4 inch steel tubing. This is what you need to do the frame on these personal track vehicles, the runners that go up and down. I call them the runners. So I've got 20 feet of 1 1/4 14 gauge steel. Reason being, the other one I did was the 1 inch. I got the 1 inch right here. But I wanted to go a little bit bigger because, quite frankly, the bearing sits a little bit better on top of the 1 1/4 inch compared to the 1 inch. You have to drill a 3/8 inch hole, and I just don't like the way it's set on it. So will it be any stronger? I don't know. So I got the 20 feet of 1 1/4 inch 14 gauge mild steel square tubing. Also got 2 sections of 14 gauge 1 inch. Now one of these is 14 gauge and one of them's 1 inch, and I'm only needing one of these. It's a 6 foot length. Why? Because I got to build some sliders down here to match the tubing for the rear bogie take-up. This little one down here. So you have to have something that slides in the 1 1/4 inch, and that'll be the 1 inch. So I'm going to do that, and again, beef up the frame just a little bit better. So I've got that already purchased, and it's sitting here from the fab shop. And if you want to know what the cost is total, it was only about $42. And that's basically what you need, $42 worth of steel, maybe a little less, because you only really need 1 6 foot section for the take-up sliders. Now I'm going to move over here and show you my Lifan engine. The last time I did a video, I showed you a picture of it. This finally got here. Well, I got here actually kind of quick. This is a 13 horse. It's a non-electric start unit. Electric starter usually goes here. It's a non-charging system, but I'm going to put some sort of a 1-wire alternator on here. I'll build a pulley system right on the drive pulley here. It'll give me plenty of power, electricity. I want to have a battery, be able to have lights and charge things. So that's going to, at least a 30 amp alternator. I think I can do that. As you can see, I now have the Go Power Sports Series 40 torque converter. Go Power Sports right here. This is the Series 40 torque converter. This unit had a Series 20. Let me go over here real quick. I'm trying to do it quick. 20 series torque converter system. You can get these now for like under $60. That's about half of what I paid for this one. Prices really dropped. I don't know, maybe a lot of Chinese imports now. Series 40, going to be a lot beefier, and I'm excited about using that. We're going to use this torque converter, this engine, Lifan. Why? Because I had the little 6.5 horse Lifan, and it worked really good, and I'm convinced these Lifans are good motors. Beefed it up to 13 horse because I want to have some power, not necessarily speed so much, but I want to have enough power to go the distance, and I've talked about that in the past. So torque converter, they're about $370. They're not cheap, but you read the reviews about them, they're super. The engines are about $250. I got this one a really good deal, found it on Amazon. I got $50 off when I applied for a credit card, which I did do. Got instant acceptance, took the $50 off it. Of course, it showed up on a credit card later, the whole unit. Paid it off in like 2 installments and set the credit card aside. That's what you call good fiscal responsibility right there. Sprocket chain. Let's go over there. I'll show you what I'm doing here. I'm updating to a 420D motorcycle chain. That is what these torque converters, Series 40 torque converters, require, this kind of chain. And I'm excited about that because compared to the little 35, there's a whale of a difference between the 35, number 35 chain. They even make 35 heavy duty, but it's still a lot of work on that chain. So I'm excited to move up to the, what they call the DID 420D, also courtesy of Go Power Sports. I have one sprocket here. Quickly, I'm trying to move along here. This is one of the sprockets. I'm going to use a 41B23H. It's 3/4. It's a 41, number 41 sprocket. That's what you need to go with the 4020 chain. I'll need another one of these for the jack shaft. Yeah, you can stop, pause, get numbers off this if you'd like to. It's 3/4 inch. That's what the jack shaft is. So that's another thing we're doing. Here is another deal. Because I'm going with a suspension system on the bottom of here with arms, kind of hard to demonstrate. With a torsion system, I had to drop down to a 4-inch bogey so the arms would fit. This is something from surpluscenter.com. I like these guys. Surplus Center have all sorts of wheels. This one has a sealed ball bearing, 15 millimeter 9/16 axle shaft, and it's 4 inches. It's rated for about 250 pounds. So when you get a total of 2, 4, 6, 8 of them on the bottom, 8 times 250 pounds plus the other side, I think they're going to be plenty strong enough to do what I want to do. I just bought one sample here just to see if that's the way I wanted to go. All right, now let's move along here. Talk about the bearings. Let me grab my bearing over here. These are the pillow block bearings we use. They are 1-inch pillow block bearings. They are drilled and tapped for a 3/8 inch bolt. And of course, they fit on this Peerless axle. You get the kind without the flange that sticks out here. Why? Let me throw this over here again. Well, I don't have to show it that way, but here's one of my pillow block bearings. If you have the longer one with a flange, it tends to stick out, and you're going to be hitting closer to the track, extending over your frame if you build it that way, and we want to stay away from that track as much as possible. So these are readily available on eBay. They're about 10 bucks a piece. Here's the number. UCTB 20516. So you can get 6 of these bearings, and they're about 10 bucks a piece. There's a couple different suppliers that have them, and they are readily available, and that's what you're going to want. Now, the differential, I'm trying to go quickly here for the sake of time. A lot of people have questions about the differential. I'm going to do a quick tutorial about it just because there's so many questions. Forgive me if you're already way beyond this in your mechanical knowledge, but I've had so many questions over the, I think about 170,000 views now, and so many questions about how the differential works. This is a Peerless differential. It's, I'll get down here and get the number for you. It's a H100-224 differential axle heavy duty. It's made by Peerless. Their name's kind of sideways here. Peerless. This is the new number, H100-224, 1-inch shaft. It's about 38 inches long, including the threads on the end here. And this is how it works, real briefly. When you have the differential, people ask about this. The sprocket goes on the housing. So when it's in the vehicle, in the unit, the whole thing's spinning because there's a sprocket here with a chain. It's turning, and if you notice, that axle turns straight. This axle turns. As long as this housing is turning, both axles turn at the exact same speed, just like that, and you'll go completely straight on your travels. Now, I'm going to demonstrate what happens with the vice grips, pretending this is a brake. By the way, there's the little woodruff slots where you can use those to put your brakes on. Let's pretend the vice grip's a brake. You're stopping right there. You stop that axle. But guess what? Because you got a sprocket and a chain going all the way back to the clutch, torque converter, you're spinning, your axle's, your housing is still spinning. That axle's not turning, but you look over here, this axle is. This is the simplicity of this differential. All the gears are inside here, the spider gears. This thing continues to turn. That stopped. This axle will turn, and of course on a track vehicle you begin to turn that way. Do the same thing on the other side. Of course, no big secret here. Just clamp it on this side. This is like a brake. Boom, you got your disc brakes there. You're stopping that. Housing continues to turn. This axle continues to turn. Thus, the track keeps turning, and you're going to turn this way. That's a quick tutorial on the axle. And they're only about $89 Northern Tool. $89 at Northern Tool plus shipping, and I think it's a really cool price and so forth. Now, man, I wish I had the time, but it's not that I don't know about differentials. I spent a lot of time studying these things out. I have a real good article here about the different drive systems. The axle differential braking system is not the most efficient for a track vehicle, but it's about the cheapest. There's different kinds. There's a dual drive. There's check clutch brake system. There's geared steering. There's braked differentials. Then you get into double differential steering. There's double differential steering and triple differential steering. There's a real good article on the internet. But to build one of these into a small little track vehicle would be kind of tough. I'm headed that way. I'd like to do that because, like I said, this is honestly not the best way to drive a track vehicle. If you've seen the DTV shredder out there, dual track vehicle shredder, that's got 2 centrifugal clutches in there that drives each track. That's a great way to go too. That's an awesome unit. But I don't think any of us have the technology other than Ben Gulak, who's I've conversed with briefly by email. Great guy, young guy that invented the DTV shredder. I have lots of respect for that guy. So anyway, again, as we go into the build, remember tracks, everybody questions those. There's 180 by 60 by 39 Summit Supply. You can see that name, see that logo. Go Power Sports is a big help too. And of course, we're going to be trying to go here approximately 3,200 miles on this trip. And we're on a mission from God, the Blues Brothers said. So if they can do it, so can I. A little bit different. So I want to give you a brief update. We'll start building. Like I said, look for PTV Build 1, and we'll go on, and I'll cut the steel. We'll drill the holes. We'll start mounting the bearings. We'll start building the engine mounts. We'll get the drive sprocket and so forth and talk to you about that. And we're also going to keep going with the track vehicle. I have a helmet camera now that's all set up, and I can actually ride the vehicle, turn the camera on, and you can see me go through the woods. I haven't got one of those videos yet, but we're headed that way. So thanks a lot for all the subscribers, people watching. Have any questions, shoot them to me. And I hope you enjoy what we're doing here this winter. We're going to get a lot done. We're going to show a lot of progress. And maybe some of you can build along with me. All right. Happy New Year, everybody. Bye.